What's up guys, your agent Tyler Wehrung here, and today we're going to talk about 4 things you should not do if you're trying to buy a home. So the home buying process is a little bit intricate when it comes to obtaining a mortgage, and once you work with your lender to come up with a pre-approval, it's very key that you do not do these 4 things in order to assure the best chance of success in actually closing the loan on time, on schedule, to get you into your home as planned. So with that, let's jump in. Alright guys, a couple quick things before we get started. So obtaining a mortgage requires lenders to really come up with an algorithm that looks at every part of your financial life, your income, your job stability, your credit score, your debt to income, all these weird things that you don't necessarily need to know about. You just need to know that banks are looking and they've come up with certain metrics that allow them to be comfortable lending you money against a house. And anytime you mess with that algorithm or tweak it once it's been approved, then that's when you could run into issues. So we'll talk about the 4 big things that we see and the 4 things that you should avoid. The key message here is always talk to your lender. If there's any question about whether or not you think you should do something, call your lender and make sure before you decide to do anything that could impact your closing. So the first thing you should not do if you're trying to buy a home is to quit or change your job. So this might feel obvious, but some folks will take a job even with a pay raise and might think that will just only improve their situation. But often lenders need some kind of stability over a certain time frame. It's either 1 to 2 years typically, and changing that job could impact that timeline. So always want to talk to your lender. You also want to make sure you don't quit a job. That definitely impacts your debt to income. If it does reduce your income, it will impact that ratio, and it could be a factor in your loan not being approved. So don't do that, but key here is always talk to your lender. Alright, second thing you should not do when trying to buy a home is to buy or lease a new car. You might think, you're excited about buying a new home, you need a nice new car to park in that driveway. Just hold off. If you really need a new car, if you really want one, wait until after your loan closes and you move in. Your credit is going to be monitored from the day you're pre-approved all the way up until the day you close, and anything that factors in there that could trigger a change, it will be caught by the bank. So don't try to play any games. You don't need a car. Don't even lease one. Buying one will go into your debt to income, and leasing one will be counted as another debt obligation that you owe to the dealership. So these guys all go into that algorithm that you don't want to mess with. When in doubt, talk to your lender. We use the car here as an example because we see this one all the time, but this really goes for anything. Don't buy or lease anything when you're in this process. This also goes for co-signing. We see a lot of times where parents will co-sign on a car or a purchase during this process. Co-signing is the same in the bank's eyes as you being on the hook for this debt in case the minor or the person you're co-signing for does not make the payment. So the bank will see that just the same. Don't co-sign. Alright, third thing you should not do when trying to buy a house is open new credit cards or credit lines. This kind of goes along with the example above, but just to reiterate the point, this goes for lines of credit. It could be new credit cards, store cards, department cards. Even if it's a super low limit, we've seen folks at JCPenney open a new card, younger folks, maybe $100 credit line. This is still a hard inquiry on your credit report, and it triggers a flag when trying to close a home. So stay away from anything new. Again, think about freezing all of everything you're doing, no credit, no buying anything new until the home loan closes. But again, talk to your lender when you're in doubt, and just make sure if you have a question, keep his number on speed dial throughout this whole process. Alright, last thing you should not do when you're in the home buying process is move money in or out of any of your accounts. Now, obviously, this is aside from any typical obligations that you have or things that you've always do on a month-to-month basis that your lender knows about and you've done for the past 6 months or so. These are recurring things like water bills or rent or things like that. It's perfectly fine, but don't do anything new here. We've seen folks get gifts from their family when they're getting ready to buy a home. A family is willing to help out with buying some of those things. Hold off on depositing anything into that account. Banks typically, we've seen the guideline of anything over $500, you're going to have to explain to them, and it's going to be a flag when they go to underwrite the loan. So they're just looking to make sure that you don't owe any money outside of anything that they know about. You'll have to get a gift letter if there is money coming in from family, but just try to avoid that whole process. Don't decide to pay off any credit cards during this and see a big chunk of money leave your account. Even if you think it could improve your overall credit rating, just hold off. Wait until you close the loan. If you've already been pre-approved under the current state, no reason to take any risk, but again, talk to your lender before you do anything here. All right, so these are 4 things that we've seen countless times, and hopefully this video will help you avoid any mistakes that some of our clients have made and will help make sure all of your planning up to closing day goes according to plan and you're able to close on time and get moved into your new home. The home buying process is complicated enough without interjecting anything new into it. So again, lastly, we'll leave you with this. Talk to your lender before you do anything once you're in the process of an accepted offer and you have a closing date. So guys, if this was helpful at all, please share it with anyone that might be in the process right now to make sure they don't run into any issues like this. And if you got something from it, I would love a like over there and a subscribe if you would. I'd be eternally grateful. And with that, it's Tyler Wehrung with Keller Williams, and we'll catch you next time.